Hello, welcome back to Sacred Vapes. The channel aims to bring you the views and experiences of products in the market today, brought to you by an average vapor. Now this week on the pod series, I've got something that's a little bit unusual, mainly because it doesn't look like a pod, and you wouldn't think it acts like a pod, but it's called a pod. It's this, the Tesla Falcons Pod 1 kit. Now, this is one of these products that have probably gone under the radar. It's not a brand new kit. It's probably been out for a few months now, maybe even longer. But it represents a quite unusual way of approaching the pod system. Certainly, compared to all the others I've brought you so far, this does stand out as rather unique. But before we get into all that, let's give her a vape. Now, before we get talking about it, let's go into the packaging first. That's what the box looks like. There we go, Falcons Pod 1. So turn around. So you've got your contents and all the rest of it, specifications. On the bottom you have your scratch code. And that's about it. So let's get her open now. Here's the box. The inside, it's a bit tatty at the minute, but you have your mod, obviously will be there. You get two pods, you get a pod adapter, which I'll show you in just a moment, and then you get a little box underneath, and that comes with your instruction booklet, and it comes with USB cable. And then finally, a little certificate. And that's about it. The mod itself now, it's a 2000 mAh internal battery device. Has no screen, it has a front fire button there. So that has a light up light. I mean, it's got 3 different power. I think it's green, blue and red for the battery indicator. Bottom USB port for charging. So it's got a lovely little sort of etched design. I mean, it's a plastic mod. There you go. Now the pods themselves, they're 1.2 ohm coil. As I know, it did come with this pod adapter. Now, if I just show you the pod, that's how you get the. Rather than take it apart, I'll show you the other pod. So that's the pod itself. You have your connections on the bottom, and then there you have your fill hole silicon bung, and then you also get this pod adapter, the black thing. See, it's not going to come off, but well, not on video, but you basically push the pod into the base, and then that's what screws on to the device itself. So power wise, you're looking at about 15 watts output with this. So it's not too bad, and it's certainly designed for mouth to lung vaping. I know they do have a tank version out on the market, but for the purposes of pod review, I've gone with the pod one. So yeah, that's what it is, but is it any good? We'll get into the pros and cons of this now. Now the first pro for me is going to be the flavour on these pods. They're really, really nice flavour that you're getting through compared to the more restricted vape of a more conventional pod system. Now the airflow is quite restricted, so it is designed for restricted mouth to lung, but you are getting a lot of flavour through it. I mean, when I was using this one, this is with the nicotine salt. This one was just a random e-liquid. Actually, I think it's only 3 mg, this one. But yeah, I just wanted to see the difference in performance, and certainly the flavours coming through really, really nice. Say vapor production and throat hit on this. isn't bad. You are getting a little bit of throat hit. Obviously, I'm not with this at the minute because it's only 3mg, but when I was using the nicotine salt, you was getting that little bit of throat hit in there. But flavour, absolutely fantastic. Airflow is nice and restricted. It's not adjustable, unfortunately. There's only like 3 dots. I don't know if you can see them there. There's 3 dots, that's your airflow. So there's no real way to adjust it. The fact that the pods are disposable, that might be a con for a lot of people. But the idea is, works much the same way as a normal pod system would. The fact that as soon as the pod's gone, you just throw it away and replace it. The mouth tip is nice and easy to use. I've not had any heating up issues compared to other pods. The fact that it's all in one seems to, and the fact that it's a restricted airflow seems to really help with that. Now for the mod itself, the fact that it's a 2000 mAh internal battery, that's a massive pro, especially for a pod device, because essentially it's delivering a much bigger mod for the same low powered output compared to, again, something smaller. So the fact that you get a 2000 mAh, but it's a mouth to lung device, means you're going to get a 1.5 to 2 days worth of battery life out of this if you're just taking the pull every now and again. It's plastic. It's also a plastic and rubber design, so it's extremely light. I mean, it is literally one of the lightest devices I think I've ever brought to you on this channel. It is really small, really light. So the fact that the nice big indicator light, makes it very easy to see in daylight. Charge time on this is a little bit long. It's about 1.5 to 2 hours at least, but that's because of the bigger battery. So again, that's via a USB port, not an external charging port. But the button's nice and clicky, as you can hear. 5 clicks turns it off. There you go. Again, nice and responsive. Fires quite quick. So yeah, pros for this. We'll get into the cons of it now. Now the first con for me is going to be that restriction in the airflow, mainly because I can understand most pod systems only really offer one airflow system. This is a little bit unusual. It's almost psychological of a con rather than an actual one, because when you get something like this, you think it's going to operate much like a sub-ohm kit, or at least a mouth to lung kit, and the fact that it operates like a pod instead means that restricted airflow is a little bit surprising when you first start using it. So it feels like you're forcing it through, but when really, if they shrunk this down into a little 6-star device, you would expect it a bit more. So that's a bit of a strange con to start off with. The fact it's plastic's not going to appeal to a lot of people. If you want something a bit more sturdy, although this has survived a few drops and it's been fine. Next con for me is going to be this connection. I won't show you on video simply because I'll be here all day, but it's very hard to pull the pods in and out of it, and you've got to line them up just right to get them in. I haven't got a spare adapter in the box to show you with the other one, but yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare. It's very, very hard to pull it in and out, so functionality, that's a bit of an issue. Now, next con for me is going to be the fact that it doesn't cope well with nicotine salts. I'd say this pod does have the nicotine salts in, and it did dry hit quite a bit. It just didn't perform that well. That's why I went with the e-liquid, just to get a good experience of it. So this isn't a pod system that you're going to be able to use nicotine salts with. Charge time being over 2 hours, I'm going to say that's a bit of a con, because we all want the device to charge us quicker. And to be honest, that's it. I mean, it's a Pro as well. I mentioned that you get a second pod in the box, so you're not committed to buying more. And yeah, for what it is, I can't really con it anymore. So we'll get into the overall of this now. And overall, it's quite an unusual kit. It really is. It's one of these kits that it's a very hard selling point, because nobody really wants a sub-ohm or a kit style pod device. You want the actual pod device over something like this. Now, performance wise, if you want something a really restricted mouth to lung device that has really nice flavour and a massive battery to go with it, then yeah, absolutely pick this one up. I mean, if you can pick this up for about £25, you're going to get a nice little bargain for something like this. Take into mind how light it is and the fact that it's fully plastic and disposable. But yeah, it's a very unusual kit for a pod system. Hopefully this isn't going to be like a new trend, because to be honest, I do prefer the standard pod style design. But for what it is, it performs really well. And yeah, at the right price point, it could well be an option for you if you want something that's going to last you a couple of days, mouth to lung like this. So yeah, that was the Tesla Falcons Pod 1. Thank you for watching, I really appreciate it. Next week on the pod series, I'm actually going to have a Rinco pod to bring to you, which I'm looking forward to bringing. As I always say, thank you for watching. I'll drop a link into the description below for the group. Drop a like or subscribe if you haven't already. But as I always say, stay safe. And keep vaping.